All right, at 6 o'clock, I'll open the meeting. First up, DPW. All right, Sean, whenever you're ready.
We're gonna start with vehicle maintenance.
4210.
Oh, 4210, okay. Let's see, 4210, okay. You guys have the, oh, okay, yeah. Gotcha. I went on the overtime, I went up to the, I went up to 6,000, it was for. Richie's been taking a lot of time off here and there. It's always been on the borderline. So it's like, it seems like it's so close all the time, and it seems like, I don't know what it is, but, so I went up on 6,000 right there from 4,000.
When I signed all those things the other day, I was surprised when the overtime comes in on those, for all the highway thing, and the overtime, so that builds up.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and,
but that's for snow and ice.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and also the
really
old, well, we'll go down on the other stuff too, but yeah, I also had to go up on that. But anyways, the heating and fuel, I went down on that because I don't see the money just sitting there. I could see that if somebody else needed the money, so I went down to from 5,000 to 4,000.
Okay.
So the next one, to the gasoline, like it's the same thing. It was 12,000. I went down to 10. I don't see the money why it should sit there. So I went down to 10 on that. The dues in the meetings, I went up on that because there's a lot more things that I'm sending Mike to, and also I'm going to. So I went up to $2,000 on that from 1,000. So that's the 4210. Down to the 4220. Next on that.
We're gonna avoid this one here?
220, yep. You all set, Eldon?
Yeah.
Okay. From the 4220, the vehicle repairs,
Yeah.
I had to increase that to 15,000. We have some of the older vehicles that it took a beating on this last year that we were trying to keep going. So I increased that from 11 to 15,000.
You put in for
Put in for
one truck, two trucks?
put in for
capital?
2 trucks for capital. So
What, do you know what, did the capital committee have recommendations yet?
Yeah, they did, they recommended both of them.
Would, if those were both approved at town meeting, would you need this? Or are they different vehicles?
no, there's still a couple of older vehicles there just in case, and also we have a 1-ton that was going to need. It's an 06. It's got like 150,000 miles on it.
Okay.
The equipment repair, everything's starting to get a little bit older. I increased it from 10 to 12,000. The loader, which is the backbone, basically we use that for everything. It's going to need some repairs on the bucket itself, and there's going to be some coming up just for the servicing on that. It's getting to be an older machine, so I increased that to 12. The drainage supplies, I brought up 1,000. We're right on the borderline. We did a lot of drainage with these roads that we've been repairing. It pretty much, Matfield Street took it out, and we have a few more roads that we're doing now that but that we didn't we didn't know that we were gonna do a lot of that drainage. But the drainage is so old, so it's like I want to increase it a little bit more so we can have, because I'm doing 9 roads this year, so I want to make sure that hopefully it'll get us through. But anyways, the bridge railings and all that, brought it down to $3,000 from $4,820. Like I said, the money's sitting there. It could be used somewhere. Maybe someone else can use it, so, or whatever you have to do with it. The transfer of the police details, I increased that to 10,000. It's right there on the borderline. It seems like we always are getting sergeants, and the rates are right up there, so it's always squeezing it in right there.
The really in front of Chris Anatelli's house. Do
Yes.
you have any intentions to?
Yes, I do. Yep. That right there, I have to call for the bridge inspection. That's been bugging me for a long time. Also, where it's sinking too, so I'm gonna get an inspection on that, and also on Belmont Street. I'm gonna get an inspection on that and see about the railings on that, because you can walk over it and just fall into it, so it's not gonna stop the vehicle or anything else. But, no, there should be, I'm gonna look into that. After all this Chapter 90, I was just getting done. I put a call out to the state bridge inspectors, which I got a hold of the guys, that we have a meeting every week up on the 106. Those guys, the DOT, they told me to get a hold of, I think it's Steve Webby or whatever it is, to get a hold of him, make an appointment, he'll come down, they'll do an inspection on it, which they're supposed to, I think they do it every other year. But being as that's not a bridge, it's a culvert, the town's gonna be responsible for that when the time comes. So, no, it's in process right now, so.
Well, I got a question.
Yep.
I know you're gonna be doing Pleasant Street up with this end there. How far are you going down? Because there's businesses down the end there, and I know there's gonna be some digging in the road down there.
Yeah.
Are we going all the way down, or how far are we going there?
We're going the whole length
Ooh,
of the
boy.
road.
Do you aware of the business of, there's one business in, there's one now, but then there's another person down there, and, geez, I don't like to see it dig the end up, and then there's water that's gotta be put in down there.
Yeah.
Gas and everything else. Are you aware of all that?
Yeah, Dave and I were speaking about that. The guy came, he's gotta put the water across the road, and also, gas, an 8-inch
Yeah,
water
gas.
line.
Yeah, okay, you guys are aware of that?
Yeah, we're aware of that, and hopefully he'll get it in.
So we gave Larry a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We thought in a couple of weeks he could get it done.
Okay, you know, because there's another business too, besides Larry down there too, and I don't know, I'm not familiar with that, you know?
Well, I look at it as, you know, they've been there for a while now doing their thing.
Yeah, I know.
But the road is so far gone, it's like we can't keep patching, we
Yeah,
can't keep
well,
ahead of
okay.
that, you know, so we
Well, I
have to
just
get it
wanted-
done. But yeah, we're aware of that.
Aware of that, you know,
Yeah,
because you
definitely.
hate like how to do a road, then I'll have to dig it up again.
True, no, you're absolutely right.
All right.
So that's it for the 4220.
Okay.
I'm gonna do the 4330. Or what did we come up?
4330?
Yeah, 4330. I don't know why he said that about Richie, but anyways, this is gonna be for Richie. The waste disposal. The overtime up there, like I was saying before, which I shouldn't have said that, but the guys have been taking some time off, but, anyways, for Richie, it was 6,000, I increased it to 9.
Which budget are you at?
4330,
330.
waste
Oh, you went to
disposal.
jump to 4330?
Yeah.
All right.
For the overtime, I jumped it to 9,000. Like I said, Richie's been taking some time off due to his wife. You know, everybody's getting older, I guess. I don't know, that place up there is not too healthy. But anyways, I don't know if that's got anything to do with it, but it just seems like he's been taking some time off. And Richie's very good at putting in for it and all that, but every time he does that, you know, it's overtime for the
It's been
guys.
happening often, huh?
Yeah, it's been happening often.
So why is it that you would put overtime in this budget and overtime in the other budget for the same purpose?
For the 4220.
Yeah.
It's for, because it's like, when we're doing these roads now and all this other stuff, but it just seems like it's increasing for some reason.
No, maybe I
the-
misunderstood.
okay.
I thought in 4210,
Yep,
you would increase the overtime line by $2,000.
yep.
Because you had to backfill Richie.
Yeah, see, I messed that up. I was doing that to Richie. This is right here. I don't know why I did that, but anyways, I increased it to $6,000 for the overtime for us guys, for the,
All right, so that had nothing to do with.
nothing to do with
Okay,
Richie.
all
I
right,
messed
okay.
that up, sorry.
Okay, all right.
But now this is for Richie, so, yeah, like I was saying, it seems like it's been taking a lot of time, but he has the time too, so, it's always been right there on the borderline, and it seems like it's been more often, so it's not just a few days, it seems like it's increasing more like weeks, so that's why I increased it to 9.
Out of curiosity, has he mentioned anything about retiring recently?
Yes, he has, so, about like, it's another 3 years or whatever he was talking
Oh,
about.
is it still that far? Okay.
Yeah, so, the property maintenance up there, he's kind of a neat freak, which I don't blame him. Being up there, it's It's getting worse all the time. He's always asking for, the rodents, the spray, the stuff for the dispensers outside, all those. He's got to keep the odor down so it doesn't stink, and he's always going through that stuff, the powder and all that. And he keeps the place really neat up there outside, and inside he tries his best, but it's what you got to work with, The equipment repairs up there, increase that to 6,000. We just had an incident up there. One of the rams from the compactor that we own let go, and it was a $5,000 bill. So, everything, those things go every other day, and they're always pushing, and there's a lot of stress on the on those. It's a lot of hydraulic. It's just everything is just over time. Seals let go, which all of a sudden it just let go for some reason, wear and tear. So that right there increased it from 2 to 6.
Do you own all of them or any leased?
No,
You own all the
all the compactors up there, not the boxes.
And just to let you know, Anthony, we used not to own them. Lenny made that change a handful of years ago, and I looked at the math with him. It happened right before I came on board. It was actually the right thing to do. He was just spending too much money at that time.
All right.
Okay, so the equipment repair, the hazardous waste disposal. We pick things up off the side of the road. People drop things everywhere. I just had to get rid of probably about 7-8 years worth of stuff out back that's just been sitting there.
Yeah.
And that was like a $2,500 bill. That stuff's just so expensive. We can't get rid of it because we have to have placards to run it over the roads, and we have to have the proper disposal and sealed up of certain things. So I had to call the guys, a company in for that. So that's the only reason why they're. Actually, I probably should increase it a bit more. But anyways, hopefully we'll keep up with that. But the office supplies too, same thing. Richie needs this, he needs that. It's just, all the stuff.
The solid waste disposal, 149,000. Does that seem too high?
Solid waste disposal.
So in FY16, it was 117. Was that under this contract or the previous contract?
Yeah, so it was under this contract.
This contract, yeah.
And what I've told the board before, because this was really my number that I put in with Lenny, is the fact that every year it goes up 2.5%. So and as business gets better, you're gonna see more trash have to get disposed of. I'm sure that we're gonna see more this year than we did last year, just because when people are renovating or remodeling or whatever. But bottom line is, I don't wanna be stuck in May looking for money to make sure that we can get rid of trash. It's one of those lines that I would agree that we could probably chisel about $15,000 to $18,000 to be safe, but I don't wanna be looking for and tell people they can't use trash in June.
Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
yeah, that makes sense.
No, yeah. So, I think the last one's what, 4,600. Vehicle maintenance.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, down to in-service training. What that is, I increased it to $6,500. Every year it goes up. That's for the Ford service on all the vehicles. It's the software. It goes up every year, about $200 all the time. And there's also another software that Tom has to get and renew it every year for these trucks. So that, I increased it for that. Also, the vehicle repair on his. The truck's getting a little bit older. He had to put about $2,500, maybe a little bit more into it this past year, due to the radiator, some front end work and all that stuff. It's just wear and tear.
His truck,
His truck, his maintenance truck.
the four-wheel drive,
Yeah, the four-wheel drive.
okay.
Plus, he also uses it for the winter too, so it's a lot of wear and tear for that. That's why I increased it to 2,000. The gasoline on that, I don't know what I did there. I brought it down to $500. What do I increase it? I can't remember what I did now. I think I
You brought it down.
brought it down to $500, yes. because, like I said, there's money. I don't think he'll ever, you know, the money's sitting there, like I was saying, maybe someone else can use it in a way. I know you know, give and take, but it's the bottom line, you know, so for that. Also tools and supplies. I increased it, brought it down, I made it to $1,000.
Okay.
All right.
We also have street light and snow.
Yep, street light and snow. Snow budget,
What are you gonna snow? What do you say, huh?
yeah, I didn't touch that, any of that, because,
Yeah, we do that.
snow remove the 4230. I didn't touch any of that.
Yep.
I didn't see, because you just don't know. And the street lighting, I haven't really got into that, but, this year, but I have to go around to, I'm trying to put everything into the GIS system, for that. I really haven't looked into it, but I want to get on the GIS system, the pole numbers, the street poles and the street lights, so we can keep track of them. Whatever's out, what's on, whatever's the problem, and I can report it to the company and all that. So I just haven't got into that. That's the only other thing I haven't really looked into yet. So, but other than that,
All right.
all right.
Anything else on there?
You got waste disposal there, or is that,
We already did that, yep.
that's all done? Okay, so that takes care of that?
I apologize, it's just like 3 or 4 months into it. I'll get better at it in a way of looking
Oh, I
at
think
it,
you're doing all
so,
right.
you know.
Just,
I mean, not only a couple of months in, Sean, you're also in the middle of the winter season.
Yeah, true. So, but you guys also know that we're doing a lot of streets right now, milling and paving. They're gonna start tomorrow, start paving them. And then, hopefully maybe May, we're gonna finish up what I have on the list. So there's about 9 roads, I think, we're gonna be done, hopefully, before the heat of the summer. I just put it in quick, so we can take care of all the other stuff during the summer. And I hate paving in the fall. It's just the temperature wise and all that, it's just, I just never understood why we had to do it in the fall. I don't know what it was, but well, that's just the way I am, I guess, so.
I just want to thank you for, you know, you had a winter, your first winter out there, really, you did a stand-up job. I mean, it
Well,
really-
thank you.
And I know it wasn't as easy ones either, too. There was a
Yeah.
lot of sanding and that kind of stuff like
Yeah.
that, but you kept up with
We
it.
take it like it is, so, you know.
No other questions? I'll make a motion to move them on to the FinCom.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And good luck tonight. I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you.
You're gonna get out of here, huh?
Yeah, quick.
Let's come back.
If I see anybody, I'm just running. So anyways. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you later.
Cheers, John.
Right. We're ready for you.
Oh, you ready?
Yeah.
2200,
We're
huh?
efficient without Jerry.
That's right, without Jerry, huh? Can you imagine we had 5 selectmen, what would it be?
Yeah.
Good
Everybody this
evening.
evening.
Good, how you doing, Mike?
How's things? Neighbor? How's the house coming?
Good. Finally, pretty much done with the inside.
Really?
Moving on to the outside.
Really?
soon.
You're done with the inside?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. You've done a lot of work.
Yeah.
Seems like it
Pretty
anyway.
much gutted all of it. Yeah.
Having been in that house before, I understand. Trust me.
So before we start,
Yes, sir.
you and I were talking on the phone earlier.
Yes.
It looks like there must be some errors in here. So,
Okay.
because just so the two of you know, I was talking to Lenny, I didn't have the budget in front of me, and I said, you know, you have a couple of them that like are $100,000 down, and he kept on saying no. And,
Well, not 100,000 down, but
right, but do you guys have in
I show
5130?
0 for overtime.
And I do too.
It's a good thing.
So,
good luck with that one, huh?
so I apologize to the board. I mean, you know, when it got inputted, there must have been an error. So
Okay.
I guess I would just make sure that you tell us what those numbers are supposed
Sure.
to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I can do that. Okay, so is it just the labor lines that you're not showing, or?
So 5130 is the first one that's off.
5130.
You're below
Okay.
that. The overtime was related below that.
Okay, the,
So it was 115,000.
it was 115. Okay, what I had done, and spoke to David earlier, what I had done is this year I had reduced it from 115 down to, I took 20,000, so 95,000. And the reason I did that was because we've been able over the last few years to have a little better control over the amount of people that come in. We went to a new system, new pagers. We have a program that goes, when we put out a call for people, the information goes to their phone, and they know right away what it is. For instance, if it's a structure fire, I'll be perfectly honest with you, if it's a structure fire, everybody's coming. But if it's just, we need to cover the station because both ambulances are out, which happens quite frequently, then I may get one or two. So it reduced the amount of money I need in that line item, so I purposely, by what I had, reduced it by 20,000.
That's good news.
So it's 95,850?
Yes,
Is that
sir.
the number you have? Okay.
Yep. And this overtime for injury, I didn't touch that one, it's still 2,000. That's usually, that's a line that gets reimbursed by our insurance policy, so I didn't touch that one. I didn't touch the overtime line for sick either. It's still 66,290. I thought we were going to be in pretty good shape, but I've had 3 people out in the last 2 months. One for a shoulder injury, not job related. One for hernia surgery, not job related. So it's all sick time. It's not injury time. So just when I thought my overtime, my sick leave line was in pretty good shape, it's getting tight on that line. I mean, I think we're going to be okay, but the next one is the holiday line, which was 132. I don't know if you have that one. Is that one?
122,672?
Yes,
Okay.
122,672.
So below this is accurate, I think.
Okay, all right. So the holiday, the holiday line and the vacation line, I did reduce again. We had, last year, we had four people with 2 that retired and then 1 that went to another job. So they were all at top salary. So I went from people at the top salary down to people with a, at the beginning salary, our first salary. So what I do, the way I figure that is, I look at the number of vacation days. They all have the same amount of holidays, regardless of whether it's their first year or their last year. But I look at the number of vacation days, and then I figure out what the average overtime rate will be, and then I multiply an average figure. For instance, they work a 10-hour day and a 14-hour night. So I use a 12-hour average, and I take every one of those holidays, every one of those vacation days, and I multiply it times 12 hours, based on the overtime rate of the average of the people. When people go out, retire, and you go from, say 10 people at top salary down to 6 people at top salary, it reduces your overtime costs. So that's what those are based on.
Okay.
Let's see, I think the next one is personal time. I left it the same. They all get 36 hours by their contract. Longevity is contractual. I have more people that qualify for longevity this year, so we raised it slightly. I think I raised it by like $1,000, $1,050. The rest of the line items in the budget I left the same, with the exception of the property maintenance line, and I had this discussion with David this afternoon. I increased it to $10,000 only because that's what we spent this year. We spent $3,000 to replace windows in the station. Station's, believe it or not, 9 years old, and we're getting to the point now where we're having to start replace things. This year we replaced 16 windows. It cost us $3,000. It was done by College Town Class in Bridgewater. I'm looking at the windows now, and we're probably going to have to do at least another 16.
So I raised it to $10,000. I was wrong when I spoke to you. I said the figure didn't include the $3,000 that we had spent. What I did is I used the figure that we had spent to this point in the budget, and then just made that what I asked for next year. So the one thing that I will need to, I am a little concerned about, is I got an email from Chief Flaherty. We share the same heating system for the entire building, and anytime it takes a repair to the heating system, we share the cost. So in other words, if something goes wrong, we split the cost. All right, so he pays for some of it, and I pay for some of it. I had an email from him earlier this month that we are probably going to need to replace 2 circulator pumps in the heating system. They're approximate, it's going to be, they're close to $2,000 a piece, or about $1,800. Wait a minute. Before I tell you that, I have it right here. I brought it with me. I thought it was. Anyway, they're like $2,000 a piece. It's like $1,981 a piece for the pumps. So we're going to have to replace 2 of those. So he asked me if we could do it now. I said possibly a little later in the fiscal year, and we look at the budget, see what the budget looks like. We may be able to do it before the end of this fiscal year. If not, I'll have to do it after July 1st. The other thing that came up too was I received a letter, and I did bring that. We received a letter from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Actually, it's a copy of the letter sent to the governor. The Department of Public Health, Office of Emergency Medical Services, has mandated that effective December of this year, all ambulances that run an advanced life support system, which is what we run, will have to start carrying IV pumps to specifically to distribute certain medications. All right, we're fighting it. We don't think it's necessary for the amount of times that we would use the particular medication that they're talking about. We don't feel it's necessary. Our chiefs in the entire state that run ambulance services don't feel it's necessary, but you know how the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is. If they mandate something, usually it doesn't change. The cost of those, depending on what we buy, is anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000 a piece. We would, again, by this regulation, we would need to have 3 of them. We only run 2 ambulances, but the regulation requires that you have a spare, so that if one of them dies, you can just easily replace it. So we would be looking at buying three of them. My plan is, hopefully, if the budget goes the way it looks like it'll go, it looks like it's going now, and I do have some money left over, a little money left over at the end of the year, then I'll try to buy them this year. Worst case scenario, I'd have to wait and buy like maybe 1 this year and 2 next year, or 2 this year and 1 next year, or whatever. That's basically it.
Yep.
I'm surprised. Is the regulation coming from who?
The regulation is coming from the Department of Public Health, Office of Emergency Medical Services.
I mean, because if the chiefs are in tandem, I'm surprised that they wouldn't be taking that. I mean, I've never seen that.
So are we.
Because usually it's you guys that are pushing
It's
for it.
usually, you're absolutely right, but yeah, if you want, what I'll do is I'll send you over a copy of this letter, but
Well,
this is the one to the governor from the,
all right, so is that
From the
still part
region.
of their rulemaking, where they haven't made the regulation at this point?
they're,
But they're just
it's,
proposing it?
they're proposing the regulation.
The only reason I bring it up is because if they do end up forcing it, what I'm going to ask you to do is that whenever you receive that regulation saying that you're not required to do it, can you send me a copy and Annie a copy?
Sure.
Under 2.5, that would be an unfunded mandate.
Well, here's the answer to that one, because
Okay.
we said the same thing.
Yeah.
All the chiefs said the same thing. We said, whoa, wait a minute, hold it. Commonwealth of Massachusetts several years ago passed a law, I believe, that said you could not pass unfunded mandates. If you were going to mandate a town to do something,
Right. Yep.
you know what their answer was? You don't have to have an ALS ambulance service. You could go back to running BLS, and you wouldn't need one. So if you want to run an advanced life support service, this is what you have to buy.
Okay.
That was their answer.
Okay.
It's like, okay. So anyway,
And also, I want the board to know that in 5112 and in 5115, we've been budgeting 2.5% increases because that's what we offer to the unions. I noticed, I talked to the chief earlier, I don't know when Dawn put this together, if she just wasn't aware of it or how, but I'm gonna have to tweak those numbers anyway, because I'm gonna have to reflect that. And the same thing on the bottom at 5740 for ambulance insurance. The chief pays for the cost of the ambulance insurance, so all I do is, when I get the final quote, I divide it by 3, because he has 3 ambulances, so that number will get tweaked up a little bit as well. I just want you guys to know.
Okay. Right. It looks good. Glad to see the reduction in overtime.
that you would be.
Anything else?
Okay.
All set?
All right. Budget.
Thank you.
Everything
Good
gone?
to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah, all right.
Lenny?
Good to see you.
Yep.
Thought I could never see you. Take care.
Thank you.
Motion to move the budget to the FinCom?
Second.
Well, go ahead.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moderator?
The moderator budget is $588. It's flat year over year.
Okay, historical?
Historical Commission is a $500 increase. I think it's up to $22.50, it was $17.50. The reason for the $500 is because they're looking to add heat into the Historical Museum out back, and they're gonna need something to be able to pay for the heat.
Do they have a quote for it yet? Or
They do
did
not.
they just plug that in?
No, they do not. I don't know if they're gonna, at this, in the short term, just buy an electric space heater. I'm sorry, it was $12.50, it's now up to $17.50. But the $500 was for the purpose of electricity.
Oh, so they didn't add anything.
Yeah, they had nothing because they didn't have a building before.
No, so they didn't add anything for heat, though?
They have not. They're just hoping to do something this year.
Oh.
Benefits, 9,100.
All the way back, huh?
The last one.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Roll 'em up. Come back, huh? Ah, if you want. Let's start with roll 'em back. Roll 'em back. Anyway.
So
Are
in
you-
line 1, you're going to see 8% year over year, and the reason being is that's what the county has amortized out until, they believe an 8% increase up until 2033. They're going to be fully funded minus administrative costs, so that's obviously fixed. The next one down, Maya, I'm budgeting at this point 11%. We've had some claims, and so it's just unfortunate, but with claims, obviously, it just goes up accordingly. Unemployment charges, you know, you may recall, especially you, Anthony, there was this discussion I had last year with the finance committee. Because we used to
said
only.
a little bit, right?
Yeah, we did, and I was trying to be proactive, because we usually budget 7,500, and everybody kept asking me at that point, well, do you know who you're gonna be letting go? And obviously, I wasn't gonna say that at the time, but I knew that we had Ian that was probably gonna be collecting unemployment over time.
I've read.
So, so anyway, my strong suspicion still is that over a period of time, if we don't increase that line, sooner or later, we're gonna get really caught. So I think that we just need to increase it incrementally. I don't know if 4,500 is the right number. We did 2,500 last year. Probably gonna recommend 2,500 at the end, but but right now I put in 15. Health insurance is a tough one, but unfortunately, again, it is what it is. And Medicare is, you know, up a couple of percentage points.
Is the town insurance part of a, like, county or GIC?
No, we're not GIC, we're part of the Mayflower Group, which was 19 towns. 2 actually left, although it looks like they're looking to try to come back in, but 2 towns left. And so right now, I believe it's 17. Yep. And then I reduced the sick time vacation buyback. And it's a big budget, but most of it is fairly fixed without a lot of,
Yeah, okay.
9,300 insurances, although it
Is
is,
that
it will actually be under 1930.
1930. Are these already determined, or did you plug in that 7%?
This was a conversation I had with Charlie. Charlie works from Estabrook Insurance. So, this is based on his quote. However, what usually happens is that in June, he usually fine tunes the number, and I've seen it go a little bit up and a little bit down. But
And that's with
100%,
our school building the whole night, yeah.
but 100% of this
Fleet
is,
insurance.
is Estabrook and Chamberlain.
Okay.
And the last one is 2440. Sealer of weights.
Yeah.
So, the budget is level funded in every category except for the appointed official. We used to have Herb, I can't remember how to say his last name, but we had Herb, he was a little bit more aggressive going out and being able to collect more fees. The person that we have now is David Moore, and he's split between so many towns, he hasn't gone out and hasn't been doing as many of the weights as Herb has been doing. I still haven't gotten to the bottom as to which ones, because unfortunately, there's literally hundreds of them.
So are there any that have expired that he hasn't gotten to?
He claims not. But from a budgetary standpoint, because that's got to be a policy issue, from a budgetary standpoint, I said to him, I said, David, I said, we're not going to pay you more than money you're bringing in.
Yep.
So that's why we actually lowered him $355.
How does the process work? Does the gas station owner call him for an appointment, or does he just go on his own
He
to?
just goes, and the gas stations are okay. Market Basket is okay. Quite frankly, it was Market Basket that made Herb quit, because he said there was just too many scales. It was just a pain in the butt. Gas station ones are easy. The little ones, we have to make, you know what, is the orange exactly 1 pound?
Yeah.
Think of how many there are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I know,
that's
I know.
what made him quit. So Herb told me that all the gas stations are good. I've gone to every single one, I've seen a sticker. He says Market Basket is good. He claims that he thinks he's doing the entire town. I said, well, you can't be. You've got to be missing something because you're bringing in less revenue. So he's supposed to touch base with Herb and find out. And truthfully, I have not had a chance to follow up with him. But I did tell him that he's going to have to reduce his salary to what he's bringing in, because we used to always pay Herb what he was bringing in.
So, do you know what he does for record keeping? How he knows or doesn't know which ones is he
Herb?
diligent?
Well, David is diligent because he's given me his list. What he needs to do is he has to go back to
Okay.
Herb and compare the lists. And I never got a list from Herb. I just always assumed Herb was accurate.
Yeah.
He had been doing it for so long. It's only now that he's bringing in less money that I'm saying, well, wait a second, there's an issue here. Something you're missing, or maybe Herb was doing some twice. I just don't know. And David is supposed to reconcile those two, and
Okay. All right, folks. Well, thank you.
so those are all your budgets.
Okay.
Okay, I'll move all those budgets to the FinCom.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
So if there's nothing else to come before the board, since the next thing would just be an informational session, you would actually vote to adjourn.
All right. entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, guys.